Grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life features stories to inspire and motivate you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Visit cyacyl.com.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Imagine living a life of purpose where you get to do what you want and you get to enjoy doing it. Imagine getting rid of the self-defeating chatter in your mind, those nagging voices that chip away at your self-esteem and prevent you from accomplishing your goals or dreams. Imagine developing the courage and confidence to fulfill your true potential. According to today's guest, Cheryl Richardson, it's time for us to stand up and create an exceptional life. Cheryl is the New York Times bestselling author of several books, including Take Time for Your Life, Life Makeovers, Stand Up for Your Life, The Unmistakable Touch of Grace, The Art of Extreme Self-Care, and her new book with Louise Hay entitled You Can Create an Exceptional Life. Cheryl's a lifestyle coach and speaker whose work's been featured on Good Morning America, The Today Show, CBS This Morning, New York Times, USA Today, Good Housekeeping, and O Magazine. Cheryl was a team leader for the Lifestyle Makeover Series on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and she accompanied Oprah on the Live Your Best Life nationwide tour. Cheryl served as the host of the Life Makeover Project with Cheryl Richardson on the Oxygen Network and as the executive producer and host of 2 public television specials, Stand Up for Your Life and Create an Abundant Life. Hi, Cheryl. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Joan. I'm glad to be here.
You know, Cheryl, this morning, before I left for the studio, I came across a quote that represents the way I've lived my life, and I'd like to share that with you because I think it's such an appropriate quote for what we're about to discuss this morning. It was from Marjorie Pay Hinckley, and what Marjorie said was, "The trick is to enjoy life. Don't wish away your days waiting for better ones ahead." You know, Cheryl, when I was thinking about those words, as I look back over my life, I can't recall a time that I actually, in the past, enjoyed the moment. You know, when my kids were little, I was always waiting for the day to end to put them to bed. And when I was caring for an ill parent, I was exhausted and frustrated. And when I had a job that I didn't enjoy, I waited for that better job. And I lived the majority of my life waiting for something better or different. And I think so many of us do this. So that's why I'm really glad that you're here today, because you're going to tell us how to stop doing that.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. It's very funny. This morning I woke up myself and I thought, I have a very dear friend of mine coming to visit next Monday, and we're spending 10 days together on vacation. She's staying at her home. And I woke up this morning thinking, oh, I can't wait for Eileen to get here. I'm just so excited to spend time with her. It's been a long time. And I went, Cheryl, come back to the present moment. You know, don't wish your life away, because right now in this moment is, first of all, this moment is the most important moment. It's the most creative moment. It's the moment to be happy. And if you remember that and you just gently pull yourself back to the present moment, then you end up really feeling good about your life. And, you know, ultimately that's the goal. The goal is to just feel good, because when we feel good, good things come to us. Good things occur in our lives. So the way we do that, the primary way we do that is by managing our mind, doing exactly what you did, which is, first of all, becoming self-aware, noticing, wow, I wish a lot of my life away, or I look forward a lot instead of being present in this moment, or for some people, I look back a lot instead of being present in this moment. And, you know, I remember when I was working on the book with Louise that I just published, she said something to me one day that was so simple and so profound. She said, Cheryl, so many people spend their lives waiting for that right job, then they'll feel good, or waiting for the perfect relationship, then they'll feel good, waiting to have enough money, then they'll feel good. She said, if we could just make the focus feeling good, the rest of it would take care of itself. So while that was a very simple statement she made, it was really quite profound. If we develop really a spiritual practice whereby we ask ourselves, what thought could I think in this moment that would make me feel good? Then we start to create a state of feeling good on a consistent basis. And when you do that, life gets better, and you start drawing to you the job that would be best suited for you. You start drawing to you the relationships that will make you feel good. You begin to draw to you opportunities and experiences that bring abundance and prosperity into your life. I mean, I have practiced this diligently for many, many years, but especially in the last 2 years, having worked on the book with Louise. And I can tell you that when you practice managing your mind, you actually do become more present to your life. And everything that happens in any given moment feels good, leaves you feeling good.
We all want to live that exceptional life, and we all want to experience joy. But what is it that you think really happens? What is a major obstacle? Are we our own worst enemy? What keeps us from really finding our joy?
Well, I think there's a lot of things, but if we sort of distill it down to the most basic element, it's an inability to love ourselves, an inability to be present to our lives like we were just talking about. And it really does all begin with the reality that every word you speak and every thought you think is an affirmation for your future. And so the minute you say, I'm looking forward to putting the kids to bed, you're pulling yourself out of the present moment, and you're sort of affirming that the present moment isn't okay. So it really is about managing our minds. But, here's the other thing we have to look at, Joan. Your example was a really good one. You've spent your whole life. When can you're with your children, and instead of being present with the children, you're focused on when you're going to put them to bed, or like you said, you're in a job that you're not happy with, and you're focused on when you're going to find a good job. Those just provide us with opportunities to look at what are we tolerating in our lives? Where are we doing things we really don't want to be doing? Where are we doing things that we need help with that we're not asking for and receiving help with? Like, what needs to get handled in our lives? What do we have in our lives that we really don't want to have, and what do we not have that we really need? And so if you find yourself always looking forward to the whatever it is next, it's just an indication that you have to look at the present state of your life and ask yourself, what needs to change in order to make it better? And then the single thing that changes the quality of our life is a commitment to do something different. You make a decision to do something different. I'm going to make a decision to ask my spouse for help so I'm not so overwhelmed with the kids. I'm going to make a decision to get help to get a resume done so that I can start looking for another job. Or I'm going to make a decision to enjoy the job I have by looking for 10 or 15 things that I actually have to be grateful for in this job. When we make a decision and we do something different, that's when life starts to change.
So, Cheryl, someone makes that decision, and I know a lot of people like this. They know they have to make changes. They even know what they need to do, but they just can't do it. They're afraid, or they get so caught up in this mode of being a victim. How can someone overcome their fears? And then once they overcome their fears, how do they get rid of that martyrdom attitude that life happens to me, and stop letting things happen to them and take control and make things happen?
I think it's very easy to confuse having to make tough choices with feeling like you have no choice at all. So, for example, let's say that you're working at a job that you really can't stand, but you know you need the money because you're raising kids. It's very easy to say, yeah, it would be nice to have a job that I love, but I can't afford to leave. I need to stay here at this crappy job because I've got kids to feed. Well, that's confusing tough choices with having no choice at all. You still have a choice. You can still get a resume together. You still can go out and look for a new job while you're currently working. Is it difficult? Yeah. You know what? But many a great life has been built by the actions of people who were in difficult circumstances but did something anyway. I think one of the things we can do is get support. If in the simple act of choosing one friend or colleague or coworker and making a decision to support each other and making positive changes by lovingly holding each other's feet to the fire, it can have a tremendous impact on someone's lives. Years ago I started something called Life Makeover Groups. There are more than 4,000 groups around the world now, and these are free groups where people can find one another and commit to supporting each other through making changes. And the lives that have been impacted by that in such a positive way are astounding. And it's because we really are more motivated to make change when we have people with us who are supporting us and who are also making changes themselves. And once you start doing that, then you just naturally let go of a martyred position or a victim role. I mean, feeling like a victim is a normal, natural step on the path of growth for a lot of people. But the trick is to get yourself out of that position, because no one is a victim. No one. You can feel like a victim, and I certainly know what that feels like, and I've worked with thousands of people who can feel like a victim, but supporting someone in being in that place isn't serving them at all. Really showing them a way out is what matters. And that's what I do in all of my books is, I don't just say you need to learn to love yourself. That used to make me crazy when I would go to self-help workshops or read books and people would say, well, you just need to love yourself. No kidding. That goes without saying, but tell me how to do it. What can I specifically do to begin developing a better relationship with myself? That's what I've always been interested in, and that's what I've always written about in my books.
Well, and I think, for the listeners that follow the show, they know that my life in the past 2 years has been one of tremendous change. This was a creation that was a result of major loss in my life. I had this dream to create this, and with all the people that supported me, Cheryl, the one person in my life that told me that others were laughing at me and I was making a fool of myself, that was the one voice that resonated with me because that was my subconscious belief about myself. Mm-hmm. So what you're saying, it's true. Once I got past that and I changed the way I believed, I didn't give that voice so much credence, and I've been able to move forward ever since.
Well, yeah, we want to look at where that voice got implanted in your brain. And, what happens for all of us is we internalize the critical voices of the authority figures of our childhood. Could be mom and dad, but it could also be a teacher, or it could be a religious figure, or somebody, a babysitter even, somebody who had influence over you. We internalize these voices, and then we do something that Freud referred to, repetition compulsion, meaning that we often go back to and give power to the very people in our lives that replicate those early voices. So, I'm trying to get mom to love me. And so what do? I go to a woman in my life who tends to be a naysayer to tell her about this new idea because she's going to tell me how it's foolish or that people are laughing at me. And I'm still trying to get mom to see that my ideas are good. So you're trying to get this woman to see that your ideas are good, for example. And you're right. That's why it's so critically important that we begin to build up strong, powerful voices of allies within us by becoming a strong ally to ourselves, so that when we do that, we don't give as much credence to those inner critical voices. They're there. They are for every human being, but we give them less and less weight because they get quieted by the powerful voice that says, you know what, Joan, you are capable of doing anything you put your mind to. Or, you know what, Joan, this is a horrible amount of loss in your life, and we're going to choose to learn from it, to grow from it, to become stronger, and to also be of service to others with what we learn instead of, caving, which a lot of people would do because, let's face it, life can be really hard sometimes.
Cheryl, we need to take a break. When we return, I'm going to continue my conversation with Cheryl Richardson on how we can create an exceptional life. This is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life now has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox. Each month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide the information that you need to inspire and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. As philosopher Francis Bacon said, knowledge is power. Use the wisdom provided in the publication and apply it to your everyday life. Visit cyacyl.com for more information or to begin your free subscription. That's cyacyl.com. Welcome back to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman, and our guest today is New York Times best-selling author, speaker, and lifestyle expert, Cheryl Richardson. Cheryl, before break, we were talking about the importance of making changes and how we can start to love ourselves. You have written about what it means to magnetize things to ourselves. And for people that may not be familiar with this, what does it mean and how can we magnetize the things that we want into our lives?
Well, we magnetize a good life first and foremost by how we think. So let me give you some practical examples of what you can do. These examples have been very helpful to me and thousands of people that I've spoken with. Go out this afternoon and buy yourself a small makeup mirror. The kind of mirror that's on a stand that you might see in a hotel where you can, pluck your eyebrows with or shave with, something like that. So buy yourself a mirror. You can go to a local Home Goods and find one very inexpensively. Put that mirror on your desk. And during the day when you're working, it doesn't matter, by the way, man or woman, during the day when you're working, every now and then look in that mirror and say something nice to yourself. I love you, honey. I think you're fantastic. That was a really great job you did in that meeting. You're so cute. Like whatever it might be. And you can make it fun and funny and endearing. But get in the habit of seeing yourself seeing yourself in a mirror and saying loving things to yourself. I have one in my office. I do it all day long. I've been on conference calls, and I'll wink at myself or I'll smile at myself. It's just a way to begin to build a relationship with the single person that you will spend the most time with for the rest of your life. You will be with you longer than anyone else on the planet. Might as well make it a good relationship. Second thing you can do is go out and buy yourself a set of dry eraser markers, all different colors. And this is a great exercise for children as well. Get in the habit of writing messages to yourself on your mirror. You can write messages to yourself on windows. It wipes off very easily with a dry paper towel. You can give them to children and give them permission to write on their windows and their mirrors and their bedroom positive statements, positive present-day statements. I love you. I really, really love you. You're amazing. I love your beautiful shape. It's a good one for women. Only good lies before me. Like putting positive statements all around us will remind us to choose good thoughts. Most people need visual reminders. That's something else that you can do to begin to shift the way you think. When you do that, you do start to magnetize good experiences, good feelings, loving feelings towards oneself. I have them written on windows in my home. People come over. I have people come to my house who aren't into any of this work that I do. I've never had somebody ever say something negative or foolish about a positive statement they've seen on a window or a mirror. They've always smiled. They've laughed. They've commented on how great it is to do that. Everybody does that. And children love mirror work, and they love positive, writing positive statements on mirrors and windows. So those are just some of the things you can do. Become aware. What do you say to yourself when you engage in the daily habits that we all engage in? What do you say to yourself when you're taking a shower? What do you say to yourself when you're putting on makeup or shaving? What do you say to yourself when you go to the closet to find clothes for the day, or when you're getting dressed? What do you say to yourself when you're driving to work or on public transportation? As we become aware of the thoughts, the habitual thoughts we think that are associated with the daily habits that we take, we start to shift the way we use our mind. And when you begin to shift the way you use your mind, you will begin to shift what you draw into your life. It's really that simple. These are simple examples, but it's really not about the example. It's about the practice of these simple steps that will make all the difference in the world.
And it's very powerful because as you were saying some of those things like I love you or you look very pretty today, I'm thinking that 9 out of 10 people that I know say things like, oh, I hate my hips. Oh, my eyes are just, I wish they were green, or I'm so dumb, or I don't have the ability. And that's the way we talk to the person, as you said, that we spend our entire life with. That's how we treat ourselves. And what you're saying is so wonderfully powerful that when you turn it around, you can draw in all the positives into your life. And I'm living proof of it. So it works. And anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
That's right.
Cheryl, you talk about finding our power. And most of us equate power with confidence or courage. But you say it's more than that. What is our power?
Well, our power really is our spiritual strength. It's our connection to the divine, however you define that. It's recognizing that we are a soul living in a body, and that the energy of our soul lives on forever. That we exist beyond the body, we exist beyond the physical elements that we see in our lives. So our true power comes from our connection to this divine creative power. And the more we develop that connection in our lives, the more empowered we feel, and the more we sort of harness the creative power to live life the way we're meant to live it. And the more we feel at cause in our life, the more we feel like we are in charge, we are actually creating every experience that we have through our connection with this divine power and our use of our thinking, our words, and our actions.
Cheryl's new book is You Can Create an Exceptional Life, which she co-authored with Louise Hay. If you'd like more information about Cheryl, you can visit her website, CherylRichardson.com, or as always, you can visit our website, which is cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on our site, listen to past shows as podcasts, read our digital magazine, sign up for our mailing list, and don't forget to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Cheryl, before we run out of time, what would you like our listeners to walk away with from this interview?
Buy a mirror and talk lovingly to yourself. That's what I want you to walk away with. It will change your life.
Simple and to the point. So buy a mirror and talk with love to yourself. Very simple.
Yep, very simple.
Cheryl, thank you so much for spending time with us today. As I told you before the interview, your work has had a major impact on my life and the life of so many people that have written in to tell me that. So I want to thank you for all the wisdom that you've shared with us and all the lives that you've had such an impact on.
Thank you very much, Joan. I really appreciate you having me, and I wish you all the very best.
This is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.